Good afternoon. My name is Fred Hooks, and we are Group 28. And for the last couple of months, the Chief Operating Officer of our company has had us working on a project due to his ethical or concern for an ethical question, namely, is it unethical that we sell and distribute genetically modified products without labeling them? And we have come to the conclusion that it is, in fact, unethical that we sell and distribute these products without labeling them. If you're not familiar with what a genetically modified product is, simply put, it's changing the DNA of a product to acquire some kind of benefit, such as a longer life. So, we would try to explain how we came to this conclusion that it's unethical in 3 different ways: from the legal perspective, the financial, and finally, the ethical. Let's begin with the legal.
So for the legal, we try to focus on cases that we've seen in the past arise, as well as possible cases that we could see come up in the future. The first one that we really focused on was tort claims. Tort claims are very flexible. There can be a wide array of different possible cases. Just for a few examples, we have allergic reactions. As we see products become more intertwined with each other, the increase in allergic reactions is going to increase. As well, we have negligence, nuisance, and trespassing. This comes from cross-pollination. What we've seen is that genetically modified pollen from the seeds is stronger than regular pollen, so it's able to travel farther and for greater distances. So this has become a problem in that it's contaminating non-genetically modified crops. As well, there could be cases that come up from dietary restriction. This could be because of religious beliefs, as well as, with vegetarians or vegans, if they don't know exactly what's in the product, there might be cases that come up from that. As well, we have claims from intellectual property. Now, since the seeds created by the companies are a design of man, they are subject to intellectual property rights. What this means is that if a non-GMO farmer has crops that test positive for genetically modified organisms, they could be held under infringement through that company. We've seen this in the case of Monsanto, which has filed 136 lawsuits against 400 different farmers. They have an annual staff of 75 lawyers, as well as an annual budget of $10 million, just for this specific cause. And just to give you a few other litigations, in 2007, 11,000 rice farmers filed a class action lawsuit against Bayer Crop Science, and the Bayer crop contaminated the 11,000 rice farmers' products, which led to economic loss, which resulted in the 11,000 rice farmers getting a judgment of $750 million. As well, we've seen false advertisement claims, such as with Frito-Lay. They claim that their products are all natural ingredients or 100% pure, while containing genetically modified organisms. So we've seen cases where they've had to remove those labelings. So all in all, for the legal aspect, we absolutely support labeling.
All right. Businesses are concerned with the financial costs or the added costs for mandating the labeling of GMOs. The 2 biggest concerns that they have are the legislation costs and the repackaging costs. And we'll take a look at these and see how it can financially impact a company. For the legislation costs, the cost estimates greatly, and it depends on where the industries are located at. We're seeing estimates from $3 million in Washington onwards up to $24 million in Canada. And keep in mind that this cost will be widespread among the food industry and to the taxpayers. And when you're looking at these estimates, you have to kind of think, you're comparing these estimates to a multi-billion-dollar food industry, and these estimates are relatively small in comparison. There was a survey done in the UK, and it asked companies of all types and sizes, what drives you to relabel your packaging? 36% of them say they repackage their labels for voluntary design, and 21% of them said that they do it for relaunching their product. Implementing new legislation only accounted for 14%. And when the companies are already enduring this cost for the commercial reasons, we feel as if there is no added cost because, again, they already have the cost. They're already enduring the cost. I used Monsanto Company as an illustration of their quarterly statements for 2012 and 2013. They were showing a higher net income this year than last year, even though they did suffer a $183 million loss. And when you factor this amount into the legislation cost, whether $3 million or $24 million, and again, the cost will be widespread amongst the other food industries. The amount is not significant enough to affect the bottom line. And you can really see these legislation costs more as an investment to prevent future bigger costs from occurring. As Derek had stated before, Bayer Crop Science, they suffered a $750 million loss in their lawsuit. And so from our financial standpoint, we don't believe that these added costs will affect overall company profitable growth.
To even begin talking about the ethical dimension, it's vital that we're on the same page on what perspective we're coming from, which is the utilitarian perspective on ethics, which states that the right act is simply the act that produces the greatest balance of pleasure over suffering. This verbiage of pleasure comes from a man named John Stuart Mill. And it all may seem easy to apply firsthand, but once you put into the equation to whom we're supposed to please, it becomes very complex. Because according to this very view, it is all in balance, which would include our company, our customers, and our employees. And I mention this because we don't want anyone to think that we're just concerned, which we are, about the external matters, but we're also concerned about internal matters because we work for this company. So, there are 3 principles in ethics that we considered which influenced us to come to the conclusion that we made. The first is honesty. Honesty from us to our customers. Selling them what, or letting them be aware of what we're giving them. And on the day when lawsuits are thrown to the large companies who wanted to pinch every single penny and continue the GMOs, we will be protected that day with honesty. Secondly, this will produce loyalty from our customers to us, keeping our employees employed. And finally, at the end of the day, we have created a business reputation from our customers, from the employees, as a company of integrity.
So you came to us to find out, for us to be able to take a look at all the, take into account all the, to come in and take into account all the implications of the GMOs, and for us to decide, to help you decide what is the best thing for a company to do in the long run. Now, let's be clear, and let's be clear, and scientifically, we do not have any proof stating whether GMOs are malignant or benign to human health. So therefore, this decision would be like any other corporate decision. It would be a risk. So let's say we're going to take the risk to not label. We're going to take a risk of, in the future, being able to, for outsiders to be able to sue our company, and we would lose a lot of revenue because of that. So, but let's say we do the ethical thing, and we're going to label our products. We perhaps will risk having short-term loss of profits, but in the long run, we will create a good image for the outsiders of our company. Good image, image of transparency, creating customer loyalty, and therefore in the long run, creating increased revenue and a long-run good standing of our company. Thank you.
I'll have to say good job. I think you guys covered pretty much everything. So I'm still thinking about any questions that I have. I mean, all I can say, how far the labeling you think can go, you know, if we regulate that, let's say start off with one company. If we are trying to regulate labeling throughout the industry, how far can it go? You know, we talk about McDonald's. Do we want to see the GMO labeling in McDonald's or any, you know, any drive-through or any fast food, how far can we take it? What do you guys think about that? How far can we take this labeling? Where do we want to see this? Every single fast food, every single restaurant we go to, we want to see in detail, yeah, what's in there, what's genetically,
Well, I feel like in the long run, like just as any company, any company has to really pretty much follow trends of like the population. Just like, for example, if you see at McDonald's, they have like now their menus are all put in with their calories, and that's